What's up, everybody? Krim here. I wanted to talk to you guys today about my thoughts on Bioware and Mass Effect, because N7 Day was just here recently and it got me thinking a lot about the franchise in general and kind of where it's gone, especially with Andromeda. And honestly, I'm really disappointed because I never thought I would be making a video like this, because I always try to stay positive with gaming and things like this, but Bioware has gotten to the point where I just don't really trust that they can make another fully captivating Mass Effect or Dragon Age game at this point. And I wanted to tell you guys like my reasoning behind that. And one of the biggest things that stand out to me is, of course, EA's involvement. When EA got involved with Mass Effect 3, there was definitely a change in gameplay. You could also see that there was a shift going on from Mass Effect 2 to 3. And Mass Effect 3 wasn't a bad game by any means, but it was after that that we were hoping that we would get something new. A continuation of sorts, and that's why when we heard about Andromeda, we got super hyped. I know I was very hyped for Andromeda. I even pre-ordered it because I heard, from what I saw from the things that they showed off, from the development style, it was definitely a drastic change gameplay wise, even from 3. It went more into an action-oriented style, but I kind of don't mind that with how the gameplay was evolving. I'm always for gameplay evolving in games. I think that's totally fine. The issue that I have is when it comes down to the writing and the story, right? Because Bioware, to me, I fell in love with Bioware back in the day back before they were Bioware, before when it was people from Interplay and Blackout Studios and things like that turned into Bioware. And their storylines were always so amazing. They had very good IPs to work with to start out. They had Dungeons and Dragons for their fantasy, and they had Star Wars for their science fiction. And when they branched off and did their own thing, when they did Dragon Age and they did Mass Effect, it really showed the talent and just how impressive they were at creating very good story-driven games. And it really showed that they took the knowledge that they had from making like Dungeons and Dragons games and making Star Wars games and made their own franchises and their own IPs. And this is where it hurts the most, because playing through Andromeda, I couldn't even finish it. And it was mainly for the fact that you could tell by this point a lot of people from Bioware had left the company. They had left to focus more on independent projects, and you could tell that EA's grasp had really taken hold in Andromeda. And the story was so bad, like so flat and bland. It was almost like you could tell that they had the universe there and they had the ability to turn it into something amazing, but it turned out to be very lackluster. It was very rushed, you could see. And with games that get rushed, you kind of hope that down the road you'd get patches, you'd get fixes, you would get DLC maybe that would make it more enjoyable. Maybe, thinking that since it's primarily new people working on Mass Effect, since most of the people that were in Bioware that were responsible for creating these amazing storylines and how the arc of Mass Effect 1 through 3 was, this was really a chance to show that they still had it, and they didn't. And to see how Andromeda was handled after the fact, to see them state that giant RPGs came out around the same time that overshadowed them, was things like that really just irked me, because to me it just seemed like they were making excuses for the fact that they didn't make a good game. And hearkening back to all those older days, it's really sad to see where it ended up, because we wanted to see more from that. We expected, me as a fan expected more from BioWare, because when you get a game like that and you get a long-standing track record, I mean, even with the whole Mass Effect 3 ending debacle amongst fans, I mean, they gave us free DLC that added more to those endings and gave us something more complete. And to me, that didn't take away from anything for me. To me, that's still a phenomenal series. And if anyone has not played through the Mass Effect trilogy, I highly recommend to play that game. When I first played Mass Effect, it was like experiencing a new sci-fi IP that I got the same feelings I got when I was a kid watching Star Wars for the first time, if that makes sense. Just the way that they did everything, the way everything was explained, with humanity leaping into the future and interacting with alien races, it was just spot on. It felt very well done and polished. And seeing Andromeda come out and how just bland it was, even with the new alien races in the Andromeda galaxy, it was very disappointing. It was super disappointing. And I feel like companies now are starting to, it's like once you see that a game dev goes super corporate, going with EA helped them gain a lot of, momentum and money to produce things. And you would think by having that kind of backing that you would get something even better the next time, you know? Like Andromeda, we were hoping would start a whole new trilogy off. And now we're not even going to get DLC for it. We're not even going to see what Andromeda, I guess, could have been. But it's it's like you can tell that EA's hands were in it so much that it was devoid of anything that makes a single player experience fun. Like, I know people have their issues with Bethesda, and that's totally understandable. But for me, Bethesda has had a very upstanding track record. You know exactly what to expect from a Bethesda title. And I'm not trying to go into that fully because I know people are kind of upset about their decisions on Fallout 76, and I understand that. But we're still going to get a Fallout 5 down the road, if not way down the road. We're still going to get Elder Scrolls 6, if not way down the road. But they're doing so many things that kind of, to me, they kind of balance out any other things that they're doing, any other side projects that they're doing. To me, that's just them experimenting with new things. I can't, fault them for that. But BioWare is completely different, as in they just took a nosedive and they just kept crashing and they burned. And just hearing the excuses that came out of it, seeing that most of the people that made games for BioWare not being with the company anymore, it's kind of like a thing you see with all these other companies that go super corporate. They get investors, they get people working in their company that has lost touch with the gaming community. You know, when you expect something to be, when you especially, like we knew from when Bethesda talked about Fallout 76, it was going to be an online survival game. That's what we knew. They told us that's what we were going to get. That's what they are going to deliver on. With Mass Effect Andromeda, that wasn't the case. It wasn't like they were trying to branch off into something completely new. This was a brand new chapter in a single-player RPG that was hopefully going to captivate a lot of fans. And it didn't. And seeing them put so much time and money into Anthem, because Anthem is supposed to be their Destiny clone. It's essentially going to be their Destiny clone. And the game mechanics look very similar to the way the game mechanics looked in Andromeda, and it's going to be an online-only game, which, that was told from the beginning, and understandable. Like, you can't be mad at them for saying exactly what it's going to be, but it's essentially a Destiny clone. And for fans that are long-standing fans that expect that kind of single-player experience, when you go into a single-player game like Mass Effect Andromeda, you expect a certain level of quality. And instead of coming out and basically being like, hey, we fucked up, we messed up, they gave excuses, and they basically just stopped talking about it. It was almost like they didn't care. And that was kind of the more upsetting part for me as a fan. And I still encourage people to play the original trilogy, because the original trilogy is by far one of the most fun single player RPG experiences I've ever had. The problem is that they've kind of lost touch. And I guess what kind of spawned this video was this whole like Blizzard Diablo mobile game debacle, is that I'm seeing fans of Blizzard, because I'm not that big into Blizzard. I don't really know, like I said in my last video, what they've done for or not for fans. But I've seen people that are fans of Blizzard and their IPs being very upset over how they're treating all of this, and that's kind of how I feel about Bioware. And I don't know if there's other fans that agree with me, but I'd like to put my opinion out there and see what other fans think. And if there's any other kind of like information you want to give to me about this kind of thing, about Andromeda, like the transitioning from the old Mass Effect trilogy to Andromeda to the way Bioware is now, please let me know. Comment down below, because everything that I've looked up just seems like EA got involved. A lot of people from original Bioware kind of left, or EA kept the people, or wanted to keep the people that would just agree with them and had ideas that more meshed with EA. Because a lot of the developers, or a lot of the people that worked with the original Mass Effect trilogy that left, you could tell that it was mainly because of EA was the reason why they left. They wanted to go back to make games that they loved making again. They didn't want to make games for a big giant corporation. And the people that stayed with to make Andromeda were the people that just kind of went along with the corporation. And that's why, like, for me, I'm not for Anthem, for example, I'm not a Destiny player. I don't like that kind of game. I'm probably not gonna buy it, especially when they've kind of bounced back and forth on like how the story is going to be with Anthem. Like, there's one part that says you're going to still experience a great story just like you would in any Bioware game. It's just going to be more catered to the online thing like Destiny. And Destiny did that too at the beginning. If you remember, Destiny boasted like it was supposed to be this next greatest thing. And honestly, that was the biggest bait and switch that I've ever seen. Because I was hyped for the original Destiny. The way that they promoted that, they made it seem like that this was going to be next level. Like, it was going to have great story. It was going to be Halo style, you know, shooting mechanics, all online. It seemed like it was a great thing. And then when it came out, it was boring, it was flat, it was dull, and it fell on its face. It's really saddening. And it really makes me think about how if you have a favorite game developer and they get bought out by a bigger corporation, start getting worried. Like, just start getting worried about it, because it seems like that's going to be the downfall of your favorite franchise. And because In 7 Day just happened, they were basically kind of gave a little hint on Twitter that there was still light for another Mass Effect game, that they were going to work on another one, and it's going to happen down the road. And honestly, I'm not excited. I'm really not excited after the whole Andromeda ordeal, with it just being not up to par with what Bioware normally delivers, and them focusing a lot on Anthem, just trying to bank off the cash cow that is Destiny. It's that kind of style of game. I've got no hope. I've got no hope for the next Mass Effect. I've got no hope for the next Dragon Age. And I'm starting to look more about where those other developers went to. If you see that your favorite game developer, and they're kind of smaller, gets bought out by a bigger corporation, look to see where the people that help make that company good, look to see where they go and follow that. That's the positive part I want to bring in this video, is that go follow their projects. Look and do some investigating to see where people that would have left, where they got placed again, where they decided to go work at, because with these other developers, they wanted to make games that they like to make again, and they couldn't get that anymore with Bioware, so they all branched off and did their own thing. In Exile Entertainment is another one that I'm really heavily looking into, because that kind of spawned off of Interplay, and they worked on like the new Planescape Torment game They made Tides of Numenera. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I've actually got that game and I haven't played it yet, but I'm really excited to try it out. And they're also responsible for the Wasteland games, which was like pre-Fallout. Because back in the day, Interplay did Fallout, not Bethesda. If people don't know, which I'm sure people know, but Bethesda, of course, bought the rights to Fallout, which was originally an Interplay game. So these companies, they were so good at what they did. They were so good at their craft and making a game that you would want to play for hours and hours and hours, and the story was captivating. And that's the thing. It wasn't about the gameplay. It was about the story. Because if you look back at Mass Effect 1, the gameplay wasn't that great, if you really think about it. But the story is what kept you hooked. That's what made you keep playing that game. And Mass Effect 2, they improved on it. Honestly, I'd have to say that Mass Effect 2 is probably my favorite entry in the whole trilogy. Because it was like the climax of seeing them perfect some of the gameplay and still have a fantastic story. And of course, it rounds it out with Mass Effect 3. And I guess I just have to say that I'm really disappointed. And I don't see people, at least I don't see a lot of people talking about this, because there's a lot of people that are just waiting to see if Bioware is going to come through and make something great after Anthem. And honestly, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of just meh about the whole situation. Very sad. I'm really sad about how it's turned into this. And just wanting to see if there's anybody else that feels the same way. So it's just seeing how out of touch these developers are getting. It's getting to the point where all the good people are leaving, and the people that just are concerned about making money are staying, and they don't have the gamers at heart. And I remember watching some of the conference for Anthem and how they were pushing that yes, they do have the gamers in mind, and they're gonna make this great game, and they're going to bring us back. And then recently they talked about how, well, you may not even care about the story in Anthem. You're just gonna love playing the game so much. The game is so fun to play, you're gonna forget about the story. That's not what you are, Bioware. That's not what you are. Mass Effect wasn't a great gameplay game. Like, the game mechanics weren't that great, but you told a fantastic story that made people play it, and it got people hooked, and got people to buy the next one and the next one. And you improved it and improved it. And I'll be honest here. I didn't mind the gameplay in Andromeda. I thought the gameplay in Andromeda was actually pretty decent. But it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing that the story and the writing for those things are just trash now, and it sucks. And I've got little to no hope for new Mass Effect. I've got little to no hope, guys. But let me know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think, not just about Bioware, but other companies that have kind of gone more of the corporate route, and seeing your favorite franchises kind of fall apart after a while, because it's like you can tell that they're more about the money, and they're disconnected from the gamers now. Because I would love to see them get the team back that helped create and make Mass Effect what it is. And I'm not saying everybody left. I've looked up names and things like that, and I see that there are still some people there, but you can tell that there was a change, and it wasn't for the better. But those are my thoughts, guys. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section down below. And I'm going to start putting out more videos like this, just things that kind of pop into my head that I want to talk about, discuss, get out there. And if you have any information that would benefit me, that could maybe either change my mind or even agree with me or anything, just comment down below. Because if there's new information that I don't know about, or if there's information that's been out that I don't know about, let me know. Because I just want this to be an open discussion, and these are just kind of my thoughts right now with what I see and what I've experienced. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you very much. I'll be coming at you with another video next week, and I hope that you guys have a great weekend. And I'm going to head off here and play some Persona 5, because I've been neglecting that game, and I need to not, because I love those games. Those games are great. So I'm off to play some games. I hope you play some games this weekend as well, and I hope you have a great weekend. This is Krim for Sleepers for the Week. I'll see you next time. Peace.